All right. Hello and welcome to Tai'Shar Manethrin, a Wheel of Time podcast. I'm Sam,
I'm Will.
and we're here on video.
Yes. So apparently, Zencaster, which is what a lot of podcasters use to record their podcasts, especially when they, like us, are doing them from separate places, has added a video feature, and they had it in beta for a while. We actually got invited to be beta testers a while back.
Okay. They did the
but
big website rewrite and decided they needed to compete with Zoom, I guess, because Zoom is
Yeah.
going to get into podcasts.
It's a little strange, honestly, for me because
It is.
while Sam and I have been podcasting like this for over a year and a half at this point, we've never been looking at each other
Right.
before.
Right.
So I'm going to be staring at my notes the whole time because
No,
otherwise-
I end up just like on Zoom. I end up staring at myself, just like, does my
for
face
sure.
look weird? Like,
Yeah.
I really
I-
hate that I can see myself usually.
Yeah,
Just like, no, go away.
I'm the exact same way. When I'm on Zoom, I stare at you too. I just get lost in those eyes. Anyway,
Right.
So yes, today is a show update.
Yeah, and as such, we will be potentially discussing any and all spoilers. So bear that in mind. Keep bears in mind if you're camping. Use a bear bag. Keep the bears out of your food. But if you've not finished the books and you are worried about spoilers, please maybe check back in with us next week where we will be finishing Eye of the World.
Yes. So at first, as I was just telling you, Sam, I was like, well, we didn't get a whole lot of news this past month. It might be kind of slow, might be kind of a good time to possibly go off topic. But then as I was collecting all of the info, I was like, you know what? There's actually a fair amount to talk about. So one of the things is one of the more recent. It's a very small thing. I reposted a video from Roman Dvorak's Instagram. He's listed as playing a Trolloc. I think we're thinking at least Narg. He might be playing more than one Trolloc, I suspect. He's a big, tall dude. And in this video, he is fighting a whole bunch of guys, broadsword, like really fast. Really, the fighting style probably is not right for a Trolloc. It's too fast and kind of I don't know, agile. Whereas I think with a Trolloc, you'd expect it to be just constant hacking and kind of slow, but really strong and
sounds more like a fade, perhaps.
Right. Yeah, I thought that. And of course, he could just be doing some general practice for fun kind of stuff with his buddies and their
right, like you do.
Right. Yeah. It's cool to see it because, as several people commented, Narg smart. And so we can now see, yes, Narg smart. So another bit, we had already heard that Amir Chadha Patel would be in one of the later episodes in the first season, that he was part of this latter filming block, but we didn't know who he was playing. And thanks to an update to his online acting CV, whether he meant to reveal it or not, he revealed that he will be playing Ingtar.
Heyo.
So it's just cool to see these characters getting cast. Ingtar's arc is one of the more compelling for a secondary kind of character.
It's nice to get a complete arc within 2 books.
Right.
It's not many of those that we get.
Right. So many of them, it's just like, yes, you might, especially with those, I said secondary, but really he's kind of more of a tertiary character.
Yeah, sure.
And I've listened, by the way, to some of our past episodes, and I was like, I use the word tertiary characters, but I feel like this series, that's relevant, even though that's
they're coming out of the woodwork. There's a lot of tertiary characters.
Yeah, you have the primary characters and you have the secondary characters, and then you have these like tertiary characters where it's like you learn their names, they may have arcs, but it's like you only get them for a book, maybe 2. And
yeah, it's like you said in the slog, we go around the room and say everybody's name, and that dude has a mustache, and she smoothed her skirts, and etc.
Exactly. Yes, and he smelled really bad. It seemed like he hadn't showered in a while, and he really liked playing with Legos. And yes,
those are from the Age of Legends.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Also, in an interview with Spanish Esquire, which I guess I didn't realize there was Spanish Esquire.
Sure,
I mean,
sure.
why not?
Yeah.
Alvaro Morte had this to say about playing Logain. And this is a translation that is a combination of Google Translate and my own rough interpretation,
Awesome.
somewhat based off of me just reading the Google Translate, somewhat me actually looking at the Spanish,
And
taking
deciding that that word means chicken.
no, it's not pollo. Look this up for yourself. It's readily available. And again, lo siento to our Spanish speaking listeners, if there are any. Who knows? So this is what it said, approximately. He said, "With this role, I have had a feeling of great responsibility towards the people who love the series so much. I've tried to make my own version because I think that it is the responsibility that actors have to contribute something creative to the character. When they called me to say that I'm in, they also said that I will be recording in 2 weeks. So
Ew.
I didn't have time to read all the books. There are many, and this character appears from the third, which, by the way, isn't totally accurate. But I know his
Right.
main kind
Yeah.
of thing starts then. So
Mm.
he says, so I was talking to the showrunner and the directors, and we tried to put together something special to give my personal touch. When you see this character in the saga, he seems fresh out of the Matrix, always dressed in black with black hair, elegant and serious guy. And I wanted to break it up a bit by investigating the human part that we could find in him. And at the same time, because of what he has to do within the series, he gets to do some very theatrical things. He's a character who is very real, with very real feelings and emotions and motivations, but he's also somewhat pompous. Everything he does is like a religious ritual, which allowed me to investigate that more theatrical part when interacting with other characters. But in the more lonely moments, he hints at maybe he's pretending. And because of that, he's been very fun to play. Hopefully the fans like it. So that was interesting to me, him talking about this, him being a theatrical kind of character. And I guess this is kind of interesting because it seems likely we're going to see Logain before
Right.
he is captured. And so
By the Red Aja. Hmm.
while he's claiming to be the Dragon Reborn, yeah, he is being very theatrical and verbose maybe, and so we don't really get to see that
Right.
in the book. So that's kind of an interesting idea that we might get to see that part of him played out when he's kind of being a bit of a charlatan.
Right.
When he gets to be alone, you get the idea that he knows he's a pretender, that he's not perhaps the real deal.
This is all
That
set
was
in
a
the Matrix, ladies and gentlemen. We said all spoilers are on the table, and here we are.
yes,
This
there
is the
you go. We
truth.
find out that this is actually one of the earlier simulations set
There
in
is
the
no
Matrix world.
Turango. Oh yeah, this is, I like that. It wasn't realistic enough. They needed to be like real
Right.
life, so they had to restart.
You,
Rand's doing his Superman thing.
yeah. Our Lady Rosamund Pike, who, by the way, only joined Instagram after it was announced that she was Moraine. Her first post was the picture of her holding the Eye of the World. But since then, she's totally become an Instagram junkie. She's like posting all the time now.
Cool.
She posted at the start of this past month that she was in a recording studio when she heard about her Golden Globe nomination for I Care a Lot. And really, this could be for anything. It could be for another movie. She might be voicing a character in an animated movie we haven't heard about. But it also is possible that she's knocking out some ADR for Moraine while production is paused.
Right.
And honestly, it's likely. This would be a good time to do it. So
I
if
agree.
you're not familiar, ADR have referred to it as automatic dialogue replacement or audio digital referencing, or sometimes they just call it looping. But that's when they go into a studio, they watch themselves do the performance, and they re-record just their dialogue performance to get a clean audio capture. This is particularly common when you're shooting on locations where you can't control the audio well, and
Oh, so you're just like dubbing yourself?
yeah, exactly.
Wow. Interesting.
And a lot of movies they'll do large portions of dialogue ADR'd, and it's always a little obvious if you're watching a TV drama when the audio quality changes to suddenly like it sounds like it's on location, like you're hearing the room
Yeah.
tone and like
Hmm.
the like slight reverberation off the walls, and then all of a sudden it sounds really clear and crisp and everything. That's when ADR is done poorly is
You
when you
know,
can
I can't imagine that Tenet did much of that. I watched it last night. Love the movie, but I had to have the subtitles on.
Oh,
Definitely.
absolutely, yes.
And maybe that's
Yeah.
by design. I don't know.
I've watched Tenet 5 times now, and I think I understand it. Actually.
Fair, fair,
I
completely fair. Yeah, there's several moments I'm like, wait, but did mm. So I probably
no,
need to watch it a few
I
times.
love I loved it, but I'm also totally a Christopher Nolan fanboy. So if anybody wanted to um criticize my like of it, then I'd be like, that's totally fair because
Yeah.
I pretty much am gonna like what that guy does, regardless of whether it's actually any good. I'm kind of that at that stage of appreciating him.
I think it's easier to do that with him than with Darren Aronofsky, maybe. Some of his stuff is amazing, and some of it is like, what was that Mother thing or that
Oh
Noah
my
the Ark
goodness,
thing?
yeah,
I mean, there was a couple of them. I mean, if you're an Aronofsky fan, folks, more power to you. The Wrestler is really powerful and disturbing, but man,
yeah. Well,
he's
the
got
one
some
I
good
can't get
movies.
is Zack Snyder. Like, don't get me
Oh yeah,
wrong, the guy's talented, but
yeah.
there are Zack Snyder fans out there that are like, no, Sucker Punch was brilliant, and I'm like, no, no, it wasn't. I
I
don't.
don't think he would say that.
Yeah,
He'd be like, "Oh, it was alright."
I remember seeing one reviewer's headline was like, "It's either brilliant or it's stupid," and I think it's stupid because it was definitely like one or the other.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, we're
Oh
gonna get
yes,
Justice
uh,
League on HBO
you know
long
what?
form.
And I'm gonna watch it. I don't
I
even
will
care.
watch it. I will watch it. Yeah,
I'm totally gonna watch it.
I'm not gonna be enthusiastic about it, but I'm gonna watch
Yes, yeah. I'm not like super excited or
the
anything,
things
but
I put up with.
I'm like curious for sure.
Yeah,
Anyway,
sure. Yeah, yeah.
also, Rosamund Pike posted a long video a couple of weeks ago. This was just funny. Apparently, she was staying up late to call in to Jimmy Kimmel Live. And in the video, she explains that Rafe told her that a pineapple can be eaten if you kind of put your thumb into the center spot on the bottom and like kind of rip it out. And then you can pull it apart and just it can be eaten with your bare hands. So she's like, so I wanted to try this. So she just recorded a video of herself doing that.
Yeah.
And yeah, has nothing to do with Wheel of Time other than it involved
Rafe and
something
her.
that
Yeah.
the
Sure. Sure.
showrunner said to her.
Yeah.
But I watched the whole video and I kind of want to get a pineapple now and try it.
See how
um,
hard it is. Yeah.
yeah, but she totally pulled it off anyway. That was just something fun.
Yeah. Yeah.
um,
Sorry. 1 second, man. I hate to do this. I'll be
okay, no
right back.
worries. All right. Tall and tender, young and lovely, the girl from Impanema goes walking, and when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. When she walks, it's like a samba that swings so smooth and sways so gentle that when she passes, each one she passes goes, ah. Oh, but he watches so sadly.
Sorry. Sorry. Sorry.
How can he tell her he loves her? He would give his heart gladly, but each day when he walks to the sea, she looks straight ahead, not at he. Tall and tender, young and lovely, the girl from Impanema goes walking, and when she passes, she smiles, but she doesn't see. Anyway,
That has to go into the podcast.
we'll see what
100%.
happens. Um. Okay. Also, and this isn't totally related, but I kind of want to talk about it anyway because back to back, I watched both of Rosamund Pike's two recent new movies,
Hmm.
which are now available on streaming services. Both of them. I Care a Lot, the more recent one, is on
Right.
Netflix, and Radioactive is on Prime Video, and both of them are good.
Okay.
But I don't exactly recommend either of them. Radioactive is interesting, and she's great in it, but it correctly got a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, in which
Hmm.
everybody's like, she's great. The script is kind of weak.
Yeah.
There's good things in it. The pacing's a little strange. It's interesting to me just from a fan of historical drama, because it's the story of Marie Curie and one of the things that I thought was interesting that they did with it is that they outlined it with like flash forwards of different ways that radioactivity has been a major influence in society throughout the movie. That's unrelated to her. She's great in it, of course, and not that we needed to know that. She's been nominated for awards before, but she's, to me, easily the best part of it. Now, I Care a Lot, she was nominated for a Golden Globe. It's a good movie. I did not enjoy it because if you really liked Breaking Bad, then you might enjoy this.
Aha.
It's basically kind of like it's the story of a villain, and
Yeah.
you're hearing about it from the villain's perspective, and to cheer for the protagonist is to cheer for a villain.
Sure. Sure.
And but she is great in it as far as being this character that you're like, oh, she's awful. Like, she is just the worst.
Yeah.
And the whole time I'm watching it going, she needs to get caught. She needs to get
Yeah.
this
Yeah.
she needs to get found out somehow and get in trouble for it. And so I totally get why it got its nomination, because it's very different. Obviously, it's got that kind of turned on its head kind of structure, with her being basically a bad person and being the main character. I say basically, she's a bad person. I mean, there's just like no,
Call a spade a spade.
yeah, there's no redeeming characteristics about her, really. But that's, I guess, part of what is impressive about it, is that she plays this totally unredeemable character that at the same time you're kind of fascinated to continue to watch what
Sure.
happens. At least in my case, I'm cheering against her like the whole time. I'm like,
Right.
okay,
Right.
well, we'll see what happens anyway. The good thing about these movies getting attention, doing well, getting nods and whatnot, is that any attention for Rosamund Pike right now is
Good for the
potential.
show.
Yeah, right. More viewership for the show, because really, I mean, one of the main reasons people watch stuff is to watch people they like. So if folks like Rosamund Pike, then they're about to get more of her via Wheel of Time. So moving on. Wad Up
What
reports
up?
that a Czech theater actor named Guy Roberts has joined the cast in Block 4 for a reoccurring role. You can look him up, Guy Roberts. It seems likely that he would be playing a Shinaran, based off of the fact that Block 4 is most likely taking place in Shinar. Though he might be an odd choice for that, based off of what we've seen so far, because it seems that the other Shinarans are less white. But if he is a Shinaran, I gotta say, he looks a lot like he'd be a really good Uno.
Hmm.
Um, that's my first guess.
I'm okay with like every nation being a melting pot, or to varying degrees,
Yeah,
because of the breaking of the world. I mean,
right.
so like,
Yeah, sure.
we
That
know
makes
that
sense.
that's going to be the case in the Two Rivers. If a remote location like the Two Rivers is going to be multicultural,
Right.
multi ethnicity, then it makes sense that other places would be too,
Sure.
even the borderlands.
Yeah. Like I said, this guy could, to me, he looks like he would be a good Uno. He could totally be Massima too, but we don't know. We'll see. Another interesting thing that happened: Lolita Chakrabarti, who's playing Marin Alvear, was doing an interview about a play that she wrote, apparently. But WattSeries.com noticed that at one point she mentions her role in Wheel of Time being small. And this was just kind of a throwaway thing. And she says, well, it will be larger if and when they get to season 3. So this actually tells us a good bit that they have somewhat of a roadmap, enough
Right.
to tell the cast. But it also says that we're going
It's
to
not
be
guaranteed.
right. It's if and when. So we're not sure that it'll happen, but the pacing of it, that kind of makes sense based off of what we know so far. So that means that we're likely to get into the Shadow Rising by the 3rd season based off of that bit of info. So, right now we're fairly certain they're going to do the whole Eye of the World in the 1st season, with maybe a little bit of the Great Hunt, then probably finish up the Great Hunt in the 2nd season, maybe get in a little bit to the Dragon Reborn. Some people think maybe they would do all of the Dragon Reborn in the second season. They could. I'd be curious because the Tomon Head sequence is such a season finale feel
It
to me.
really should be, yeah.
Right. And so is the end of The Dragon Reborn. Both
Yeah.
of them are
I mean,
big.
that's like the end of almost every one of every book, just
Right.
about.
Yeah.
Not every
Yeah.
book, but almost
Yeah.
every.
You get into it feels less and less that way as they go along to me, though.
Mhm.
Like you get
It's like he was trying to get away from having a big boss fight with a Forsaken at the end of every book. He's like, I know I do that every time. Stop.
All right. So, also early last month, there was another leaked audition script that appears to be a scene between Logain and some other characters. And Sam and I will now read it for you. Sam, I'm going to have you be Logain, and I'm going to actually be all the other characters.
All right.
So, no, come with me.
Go.
Kill them. You will never wear the silver crown.
I don't want to. What does a crown mean to a Naga reborn?
You really believe it, don't you?
You will too.
Kill them. Be done with it. I sent word to the Stone Temple. The witches will come for you.
Those women should be following me, not fighting me. They're afraid. Afraid the Naga will break the world again. Throw us back thousands of years, just like the last one did. They forget that the Naga is just as likely to save the world as break it.
Kill him. Show him your power.
Is that your solution to everything?
Who are you talking to? Have you gone mad already? Kill him. Kill him. Now, first off, Sam, remind us what Naga means.
It is the fish people from World of Warcraft. Or they're like mer people, kind of. They're kind of a 2-bit villainous group. The Dragon Reborn. Dragon.
Yes. Yeah, if you Google Naga, apparently it's a term from like Buddhist belief that does it can means they're all dragon type things. Naga are so.
Dang, World of Warcraft doesn't even make the first page of it. You have to get to the second page of
And
Google,
the Google results.
Yeah, to get WoW Wiki. That was the only thing I thought
of. Second, as I've said, every time we get one of these audition scripts, this might mean absolutely nothing. The audition scripts are almost always not reflective of any real scenes at all.
Yeah.
But this one is more interesting than the others to me so far. For one thing, it seems to depict Logain hearing voices, maybe even seeing a corporeal person.
Sure.
Which is exactly what I was hoping they would do with Lews Therin.
Right.
So this seems a little exciting to me that maybe the social media manager for Wadon Prime that's been listening to us is passing along our suggestions to the writer's room.
Let's hope so.
And we don't actually hear much about Logain's madness in the books, but it totally makes sense that if they expand his role in the show, especially showing him more in the first season, that he would be going mad. And that it would show us so that when it's revealed that Rand can channel...
just further foil for Rand. Sure.
Right, exactly.
Like, oh, crud, this is what's going to happen. Every audience is like watching in horror. Oh no, he can channel. He's going to be like Logain.
Right, exactly. And I'm kind of curious to see, will they put like a pause on it when he is gentle?
Or even, even like a reset. I mean, because in the books, he doesn't really go mad. At all. At least that we can tell. If he does, he hides it really well.
It's not long after he is... Do we have a term for when a person is ungentled or when he's
healed?
Yeah, when he's healed, the taint is removed from Sidene, and so in theory, if it had gotten completely removed from him upon gentling, then maybe he doesn't get much of it. At the end of the day. So that's just a thought. Who knows? We'll see what happens.
Right.
That's the unofficial news. In official news, we got another little teaser that seems to be kind of a monthly thing now. And we've gotten a little teaser here, a little teaser there. Well, this one is the first one that appears to show actual footage from the show. We've been getting bits with audio from the show, but this seems to be the first bit that actually shows some footage. If you haven't watched it yet, you'll want to pause this, pull your car over, and look it up on
Please
YouTube or
pull
Twitter.
your car over.
Yeah, don't try to look this up while you're driving. Here's a recap that is actually the description of the video supplied by the Watt on Prime Twitter account. The video starts with ominous sounds over a black screen. Then a script page that's mostly blurred appears. The visible line reads, and inside he sees something protected from the ravages of time, a ruby-encrusted dagger. The script dissolves to show a dark hallway inside a massive stone structure. A dim light shines through a window, showing rubble lying on the floor. We then see a man's hands opening a gold box. From the box, he removes the dagger as the voice says, "All right, let's make a deal." The video then ends with a shot of something mysterious that quickly fades to black. So, Sam,
The diamond in the rough.
the diamond in the rough. Did you have any thoughts, Sam?
I was glad to get actual footage. It's still
Right.
not enough to really.
Yeah,
I don't know.
right.
It's not enough to. I just know.
Not enough to have thoughts.
No.
I saw somebody, I can't remember exactly how they put it, but they were like, book Matt is like, "Oh, here's a pretty dagger." And it's like, "Show Matt, I shall make a deal for this dagger." And it's all like, so, I mean, that is a bit of a difference from the way it sounds. But
Yeah, yeah. I mean, because like when he gets the dagger in the book, there's no like I don't know. It kind of doesn't even happen very much on camera.
right.
You know,
It's
like
kind of like he just has it
he's like, "Oh
later.
yeah, I've got this thing." I go, "Sorry."
Well, and that's part of the reason I actually think I said it in the last episode that this part of why I wonder if it was something that Jordan thought was going to stick around or if it was just a device for the first couple of books and it was just one of many pieces from that may have also
Yeah.
cursed Matt. He just happened to pick just that one.
Right.
Uh,
Yeah. I mean, like you could see him having this conversation with Moradin. I mean, I think that's the
mhm,
idea. That or Mashadar. You know, the fog just kind of like raises up and talks to him.
right. Well, it would be interesting to see, I think, how they handle that because I do think that could be a slight improvement. Like if they made
Sure.
more
Yeah.
over the dagger
Hmm.
at the beginning, because it is a much bigger deal
Right.
moving forward, and it keeps kind of coming up even afterward. One of the big questions that's raised here is what is that something mysterious at the end of the trailer? And the Dusty Wheel posted a few edited versions of a screen cap of it. And I've got to say, I've spent a long time looking at this thing. And after spending some time, I can say definitively that I have no idea what it is. Honestly, it kind of looks like a frog bear. I mean, it could be a Grom. I don't know if we're supposed to know what it is. I don't know if it's just I think it may just be a design somewhere in Shadar Logoth and
Yeah.
the,
I think
you
it's a
know,
sonogram. Trollocs about to give birth.
there you go. Speaking of which, we don't ever see a Trolloc come into being
True.
in
Yeah.
the
I just
books.
picture it being like the orcs in Lord of the Rings.
Right.
Just
Yeah, some kind of muddy thing and then they just come out,
Mhm.
right, full grown and everything. Anyway, who knows? I actually don't think that's meant to be much like some people are asking questions about it.
Yeah.
And I think it's just ends with a shot of something mysterious that quickly fades to black. I don't think that's actually supposed to be like something mysterious, so you figure it out. It's just like some random thing, who
Yeah.
knows.
Yeah.
Maybe I'm
Yeah.
wrong.
I mean,
No.
like with such little content out there, people are bound to try to like
Right.
jump to conclusions and to
Exactly.
they want to have opinions about things. I mean, I remember when the picture of the heron marked sword was
Right.
first released, everybody's like, "Oh, it's not quite the right type of sword. It's a katana, and it should be a mixture of Western and Eastern like
Yeah. Right. And
design."
it's
Like, okay, guys,
and
you
the
can just
heron
have
is
a
on the
nice
blade
sword,
but not on the hilt, so
right?
how is he
Yeah,
gonna get burned and all this? And it's like
you guys
all
are
that, I
really
mean, that, yeah, that's, I mean, it's funny because it's just, there's been all this talk on Twitter of time about how positive the community is and how and it's true. It's
yeah,
largely true.
Yeah.
But I'm like, guys, as the fan base gets larger and we get
It's gonna get worse.
more splintered into like fans of the show, fans of the book, fans of the book and the show,
Hmm.
fans of the show that read the book afterwards and think the show is like better somehow, like
Right.
all of those variations, it's
Hmm.
gonna get a little more toxic. I just hate to say
Yeah.
that,
I
but
mean, it happened to Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones
mm,
before was just a bunch of book fans like this, and then the show
well,
came along, and
and honestly, around the time the prequels were set to come out for Star Wars,
Mhm.
like I can remember that well enough. Star Wars didn't have a toxic fan base back then.
Man, it
It
really got worse.
Oh my
It's the
goodness.
worst. It's the worst. I
And
mean, there's no
is
worse
yeah,
fan
it's just
bases.
gotten worse and worse with each new thing getting released, like with everybody arguing over,
Mhm.
which which one truly ruined the franchise. But anyway,
Generally, I would say the Marvel Cinematic Universe fan base is a good one.
it is. It is. You're right.
Maybe it's just
Largely,
because the content is pretty consistent for the
well,
most part.
you know what? And
Consistently good.
the thing I think helps with that is that Marvel established itself as a multiverse a
Mhm.
long time ago. And
Right.
so fans of the comic are used to multiple versions of their beloved characters. And so most of them are able to just shrug it off and be like, well, this is just a different
Yeah.
universe.
Right.
This is the MCU, not the
Yeah, and
actual
they've even said
comics.
in the comics which universe that is, I think. I'm pretty
Right.
sure
Yeah.
that you can find that somewhere.
Yeah, they have a designation for it. Like the
Mhm.
original Marvel universe was 616, and
Mhm.
um,
I always
like
liked that it was 616 as opposed to, DC is Earth 1, Earth 1 and
right.
Earth 2 and like yeah, it's 616. It's some random Earth.
All right. So,
Mailbag.
um, mailbag. First off, regular listeners Jacinta and Kara both pointed out that I totally said something factually incorrect in our last show update. I said Kate Fleetwood was playing Elida. I was confused. I was stupid. I was young. I was drunk. I needed the money. However, you want it, whatever. She's playing Leandrin. But in my defense, I'm an idiot. And also, there are thousands of characters. I'm probably going to do that again. Leandrin and Elida are both
They're
just
both
like
awful.
awful.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's kind of easy to get them confused. Anyway, they also expressed how much they enjoyed the off topic episode. And
Oh,
yeah, we
good.
will definitely be doing some of that again in the future when we have time.
For sure. Along with
So,
interspersing it into random
right.
conversations.
Yes. Every episode is an off topic episode if
We are
you
the
just
off-topic
believe.
Wheel of Time podcast, really.
So Jacinta also asked, do you guys think that Rand told Basil Gill about Elida's foretelling, and that's why he thinks Rand should leave straight away? And I said, maybe, because we were just talking about why Basil Gill, I think in the last episode, we were talking about why Basil Gill was so, you have to leave, you have to get out of here, you're in danger.
Oh yeah, I guess so. I could see that if he kind of understood the stakes of why Elida would be after Rand so much. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense to me that he would have told him. I mean, I don't think he was trying to hold anything like that back.
So next, Melissa, a listener, filled out our contact form at tsmpodcast.com, and she said, I just found this podcast and I'm loving it. I'm so excited for the Prime series, and your podcast is the best way to relive the books and get ready for the series. I'm starting at the very beginning and look forward to many more episodes. Thanks again. We
Ah,
look forward to having you, Melissa, and thank you so much.
right on.
Appreciate that. It's awfully sweet, those kinds of nice
Yeah,
compliments.
it is
That's closest thing to payment we get for doing this.
absolutely.
We also got a comment on YouTube by someone named Romaine, who says, Hi, thank you for your podcasts. I really like them. I am following the series with the audiobooks, and as a non native English speaker, sometimes have issues understanding everything, and you
Ah,
guys help me along, which is kind of amazing. I'm like,
yeah.
I figured he was about to say, like,
Like,
you
why
know,
completely? You lose me. I have no idea what you're talking about. Well,
yeah,
that would
yeah.
that'd
You
be
guys
fair.
sound funny, but yeah. But I'm glad that we can be of help to somebody.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
he says, sometimes I kind of fall asleep when RJ over describes
Mhm,
dresses, for instance,
yep.
and sometimes I missed important stuff in between. For instance, I can't remember how, when, and from whom Savannah got hold of the gray cube. And this is, if you can help me there, thank you much. I replied and I said, I think you're talking about the call box.
Samael, right?
Yeah, and it was Samael sometime during the last part of Lord of Chaos. Yeah,
Mm.
but he was disguised as Kadar. So
Right.
yeah,
Right.
he shows up, gives her the call box, and then later on, when she uses the call box, he shows up and gives her the traveling boxes. So he's just all about the boxes.
Yes.
It's like Steppenwolf.
I was just thinking that, man. Mother boxes, boom
Yeah.
tubes, father
Um,
boxes, brother box, sister box,
um,
grandpa shark doot 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 doot.
Grandpa box doot doot doot. So thanks so much, Romaine.
Yeah,
We
no, that's
appreciate.
awesome. I certainly try to always summarize in a way that's, I don't know, maybe not oversimplified, but simplified and in plain English. You can read the books yourself. I don't need to read it for you, and I don't want to try to get. I can't. I'm not the wordsmith that Jordan is, so I
Right,
make it as
neither of
simple as
us.
possible.
Right. Well, and I'll say it's for me having the summary that I kind of wish I had had,
Yeah,
because as Romain was just saying, there were plenty of times on my first read through that I missed details and kind of
yeah.
had to go back
You
and
might have
either.
glazed over during a paragraph that was important because
Right.
the preceding paragraph was one of those dress paragraphs or something.
Right, yeah. And it's like you're on a page where we're going through that list of all these characters standing around in a confab somewhere in the middle of the slog, and it's like, oh gosh, I just need to
Uh-huh.
get to the. And
Right,
so you skip it, and then it's like, wait, Loghain's healed? What?
right, right.
Moraine's alive? Where? You
What did I miss?
know?
Rewind,
So
rewind. Kate Redding and
um,
Michael Kramer, tell me what I missed.
that's what I'm thinking, and then also, of course, we do try to make it fun and provide some thoughts, point out some things maybe
The
that
context.
yeah might be helpful, or just things that we think are fun or funny or interesting about it. So
Yeah,
anyway,
thank you, Romaine. We appreciate that.
so that's our episode.
Yeah, thank everybody. Thanks for listening. As usual, you can visit our website at tsmpodcast.com, fill out our contact form, or email us at stuff@tsmpodcast.com. Say hello to us on all the socials. We're on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, all at Podcast TSM. Join us next week. We'll be wrapping up our walk through Eye of the World. And until next time, Tai'Shar Manethrin.